Behind every badge is a person, and in every station are quiet cameras that miss nothing. But despite knowing, some still cross the lines from loneliness, others for morally questionable leverage. These aren't just tales of broken rules, but of ambition and dangerous choices that blurred the line between duty and desire. What happens when those sworn to protect become the ones betraying the system? Today we follow shocking stories of correctional officers so ignorant at work they completely forgot the cameras. When duty turns deadly, a jail officer's forbidden choices. A promising correctional officer's career crumbled after a secret affair with an inmate spiraled out of control. From smuggling contraband to breaking every rule, her ambition became her downfall. Tina Gonzalez began her career at Fresno County Jail with high hopes and a determination to make a difference. At just 26, she impressed colleagues with her dedication, professionalism, and energy. However, in 2020, her path took a dark turn when she became entangled with a charismatic inmate. What started as friendly conversations slowly morphed into a forbidden and dangerous affair, completely crossing professional boundaries. Gonzalez even altered her uniform to facilitate illicit encounters, blurring the line between duty and desire. The inmate didn't stop at romance. He drew her deeper into criminal activity. Initially smuggling snacks and cigarettes, Gonzalez soon began bringing in cell phones and drugs, putting both her career and the safety of the facility at risk. The affair escalated further, culminating in sexual acts performed in front of other inmates, exposing not just her vulnerability, but the systemic dangers within the jail. Authorities uncovered the scandal after an anonymous tip revealed a male inmate had a cell phone and was involved with an officer. Faced with irrefutable evidence, Gonzalez confessed in June 2021. She was charged with sexual misconduct, smuggling contraband, and conspiracy to distribute prohibited items. In the end, her ambition and personal choices led to a dramatic downfall, transforming a once promising officer into a cautionary tale about the dangers of blurred boundaries and unchecked desire within correctional facilities. Shocking footage from an Arkansas prison shows a group of officers violently attacking an inmate, captured on CCTV. The video raises serious questions about abuse of power and prison safety. It's a chilling reminder of the need for accountability behind bars. Comment below with your thoughts. Love, lies, and lockdown. Officer's dangerous betrayal. One vulnerable correctional officer falls for an inmate's manipulations, trading trust for desire. Hidden bribes, secret photos, and forbidden kisses turned her promising career into a prison sentence. Back in 2019 at HMP Berwyn in the UK, then 27-year-old Jennifer Gavin seemed like a dedicated professional correctional officer with a bright future. But after a painful breakup left her emotionally exposed, she became the target of Alex Coxon, a 20-year-old inmate serving time for drug crimes and robbery. Sensing her vulnerability, Coxon spun tales of a shared future, preying on her emotional fragility to manipulate her into smuggling a cell phone into the prison for £150. This device became their secret lifeline, allowing private conversations and eventually explicit photo exchanges through Snapchat. Gavin's actions soon crossed professional boundaries, turning from digital flirtations to physical encounters, including kisses during duty hours. The secrecy of their relationship could not last. A routine cell inspection revealed Coxon's hidden phone and compromising images of Gavin, exposing their illicit affair. Further investigation uncovered bank statements showing payments from Coxon's family, confirming the bribery and the depth of her involvement. Despite explaining her emotional vulnerability and the pressures of the pandemic, Gavin could not escape the consequences of her choices. Her previously flawless record offered no protection as she was sentenced to 8 months in prison. Coxon, meanwhile, received an additional 4-month concurrent sentence. What began as a seemingly harmless distraction became a cautionary tale about the dangers of manipulation, blurred boundaries, and the devastating consequences of mixing personal emotions with professional responsibilities inside a prison environment. Betrayal behind bars. Officer's secret affair. A respected correctional officer secretly falls for an inmate, smuggling contraband and risking everything. Surveillance cameras catch it all, turning trust into betrayal and a promising career into prison time. In 2017, Butler County Jail in Ohio became the center of a shocking scandal involving Officer Nikisha Newell, a correctional officer once praised for her dedication and professionalism. What began as seemingly innocent glances and casual conversations with an inmate quickly escalated into a full-blown secret relationship, crossing every line of professional conduct. Surveillance cameras captured their illicit interactions, creating an irrefutable record of the affair. As the relationship deepened, Newell's actions became increasingly reckless. She smuggled contraband, including cell phones and electronic cigarettes, into the facility, enabling continued communication with the inmate and creating serious security risks. These items were far more than personal indulgences. They could facilitate criminal activity both inside and outside the jail. Her authority, once a symbol of trust, became a tool for exploitation, betraying the institution and the public she was sworn to protect. The investigation was triggered when a vigilant corrections sergeant noticed unusual patterns in Newell's behavior. Internal inquiries, combined with surveillance footage and the discovery of contraband, exposed the full scope of her misconduct. Evidence revealed repeated sexual encounters and blatant abuse of her position. Facing overwhelming proof, Newell was arrested, charged with sexual battery and illegal conveyance of communication devices, and sentenced to 2 years in prison. What began as a secret attraction ultimately destroyed her career, leaving her behind the very bars she once patrolled, a stark warning about the dangers of blurred professional boundaries within correctional facilities. Broken trust, officer's secret betrayal. One young correctional officer's promising career collapsed after a secret sexual relationship with a former juvenile inmate was exposed. Messages, photos, and smuggled devices turned trust into scandal. In Arizona, 25-year-old correctional officer Imari Waller once held a position of trust at Adobe Mountain School, overseeing young offenders with the expectation of upholding the highest ethical standards. But that trust was shattered when Waller became involved in a secret sexual relationship with an 18-year-old former resident of the facility. What started as private communication quickly escalated, with explicit messages sent via Snapchat and nude photos stored on the young man's phone, creating a damning record of misconduct. The situation came to light when a vigilant colleague noticed irregular behavior and reported it. A full investigation confirmed Waller's inappropriate relationship, exposing multiple sexual encounters that violated Arizona's laws prohibiting sexual conduct between corrections staff and offenders. In an attempt to conceal her actions, Waller smuggled an Apple Watch into an interview room and tried to influence the former inmate to delete evidence, a desperate cover-up that only compounded her legal troubles. Faced with overwhelming proof, Waller admitted her wrongdoing. She was charged with unlawful sexual conduct, conveying contraband within a juvenile facility, and tampering with evidence. The scandal not only ended her career but also highlighted the profound consequences when those entrusted with protecting and guiding vulnerable populations exploit their positions of authority. Waller's story serves as a stark reminder that a single lapse in judgment can unravel years of professional dedication, leaving behind a trail of betrayal and legal repercussions. Scandal behind bars, officer's secret betrayal. A detention officer's career collapses when hidden footage reveals sexual misconduct with an inmate. Contraband, gifts, and oath violations expose a shocking betrayal at Fulton County Jail. At Fulton County Jail, 36-year-old detention officer Kawana Jenkins's actions shook the facility to its core. During a routine cell search, officers discovered a contraband cell phone containing an explicit video showing Jenkins in uniform engaging in sexual acts with an inmate. This shocking evidence prompted an immediate investigation, revealing a disturbing pattern of misconduct that went far beyond a single incident. The inmate was identified through distinctive tattoos, and further inquiry uncovered that Jenkins had lavished him with expensive gifts, including Cartier glasses. The investigation painted a clear picture of a betrayal of professional duty and public trust. Sheriff Pat Labar addressed the scandal publicly, emphasizing that Jenkins's actions did not reflect the integrity of the rest of the staff and reaffirming the department's commitment to accountability and transparency. Jenkins was swiftly terminated from her position and faced multiple criminal charges, including improper sexual contact with an inmate, oath violations, and introducing contraband into a correctional facility. Her case became a stark reminder of how personal choices can undermine professional responsibilities and compromise institutional safety. What was meant to be a career of service and protection turned into a cautionary tale, showing the dangerous consequences when correctional officers allow personal desire to override duty. Jenkins' story remains a warning that trust within the walls of a jail is fragile, and once broken, it can destroy careers, reputations, and the very safety of the facility. When kindness crosses the line, Gemma Cowperthwaite. The halls of the Sinclair County Sheriff's Office once echoed with the footsteps of Gemma Cowperthwaite, a correctional officer known for her dedication and professionalism. Admired by her peers, she seemed untouchable until July 2014. An unexpected encounter with an inmate who had 9 felony convictions, mostly for fraud, sparked a connection that would spiral into scandal. Despite the inmate's criminal past, Cowperthwaite became personally involved in ways that crossed every professional boundary. What began as casual conversation quickly turned risky. She shared her personal contact information, answered frequent phone calls, and even provided favors that blurred ethical lines. Rides to work and access to her home during lunch breaks became part of a growing pattern of inappropriate involvement. The situation escalated dramatically when allegations of sexual assault surfaced. Cowperthwaite denied any sexual relationship, but evidence told a different story. On April 18, 2015, an internal investigation revealed disturbing encounters at her residence during the inmate's work release period. She was immediately placed on administrative leave and later terminated. Criminal charges soon followed. On April 24th, authorities issued an arrest warrant, charging her with second-degree criminal sexual conduct, a felony carrying severe penalties. Cowperthwaite accepted a plea deal, admitting guilt to sexual assault with intent to commit penetration. On July 6, 2015, Judge Daniel Kelly sentenced her to 10 months in jail, with an additional 4 months suspended upon payment of fines. Behind bars, she maintained that she had been manipulated, calling the relationship her greatest regret. Officer jailed for inmate affairs. The scandal surrounding Jordan Traynor exposed a profound breach of trust within the walls of Weatherby Young Offenders Institution. Traynor, a married correctional officer, systematically manipulated her position of authority to pursue illicit relationships with 2 vulnerable 17-year-old inmates under her care. What investigators uncovered was not a momentary lapse in judgment, but a calculated pattern of misconduct. It began with inappropriate flirting, but rapidly escalated into a serious abuse of power, involving explicit sexual messaging and the exchange of graphic photographs. To facilitate and conceal her actions, Traynor smuggled prohibited mobile phones and other contraband into the facility, providing the boys with the tools to continue the secret communication. In a stunning violation of protocol, she even engineered private access to one inmate, allowing physical contact to occur on multiple occasions. She frequently manipulated the work schedule, requesting specific shifts to maintain uninterrupted contact with them. The scheme unraveled during routine cell searches, which uncovered phones, explicit images, and Traynor's personal contact details. When finally confronted, Traynor attempted to deflect blame, portraying herself as a victim of blackmail and citing personal mental health struggles. However, prosecutors successfully argued that she was the instigator and a willing participant who actively cultivated these relationships. Her sentence of 18 months in prison serves as a stark warning about the corrosive consequences of blurring professional boundaries and betraying the fundamental duty of care owed to those in custody. Correctional Officers' Forbidden Affair exposed at HMP Birmingham. In January 2024, HMP Birmingham uncovered a shocking breach of trust involving 25-year-old correctional officer Shania Begum. What began as a seemingly innocent friendship with inmate Joshua Mullings in 2022 quickly spiraled into a secret, inappropriate relationship. Begum used her position to manipulate Mullings' duties, creating opportunities to be alone with him, all while on duty. Colleagues grew suspicious of her behavior, triggering an internal investigation. Hidden cameras in the prison storeroom revealed multiple intimate encounters, exposing how Begum's actions violated the strict boundaries required of correctional staff. Further searches of her phone uncovered extensive research into Mulling's criminal history and personal life, highlighting an obsession that went far beyond attraction. Begum's defense argued that family pressures left her vulnerable, attempting to frame her as a victim of circumstance. Prosecutors rejected this narrative, presenting overwhelming evidence that her choices were deliberate and premeditated. The judge criticized her for engaging in physical intimacy while performing her duties, calling the actions a blatant disregard for professional responsibility and the safety of the institution. Ultimately, Begum was dismissed from her position and sentenced to 16 months in prison. Her case serves as a stark reminder of how easily trust within correctional facilities can be shattered and how hidden surveillance can expose misconduct that otherwise might have gone unnoticed. HMP Birmingham's investigation underscores the importance of vigilance, accountability, and the devastating consequences when those entrusted with authority cross professional boundaries. Corrections. Officer caught in shocking Silverwater love triangle. Sydney's Silverwater Metropolitan Remand Center became the backdrop for one of the most shocking scandals in recent years. Melissa Goodwin, a 26-year-old corrections officer, became entangled in a complicated love triangle involving two inmates, Corey London, currently incarcerated, and Caleb Valerie, a former inmate and leader of a notorious motorcycle gang. Between December 2019 and April 2020, surveillance footage allegedly captured intimate encounters between Goodwin and London at least 5 times a month, showing a blatant breach of professional boundaries. Her clandestine relationships might have gone unnoticed if not for suspicious interactions with Valerie, captured on CCTV. Authorities quickly uncovered contraband, including cigarettes, chewing gum, and a hidden cell phone, pointing to Goodwin's role in smuggling items into the facility. A handwritten letter discovered in London's cell revealed the depth of her emotional attachment. "Miss you heaps. If only you were out before Valentine's Day. I hope I'm right this time." The scandal took a darker turn when London was violently attacked in his cell, allegedly by Valerie's associates trying to silence him. With London unable to testify, prosecutors could not fully demonstrate the extent of Goodwin's misconduct. Nevertheless, she pled guilty to a single count of engaging in a relationship with an inmate, receiving a 12-month community corrections order and 100 hours of community service. Today, Goodwin has rebuilt her life as a fitness influencer, leaving behind the scandal, while London remains incarcerated. The Silverwater case stands as a stark reminder of how blurred lines and secretive affairs within correctional facilities can spiral into chaos, danger, and betrayal. Juvenile officer betrays trust. Caitlin Gomez's shocking misconduct. At the Panels Regional Juvenile Detention Center, staff uncovered a shocking betrayal involving Sergeant Caitlin Gomez. Hired in January 2024, Gomez's misconduct came to light just weeks into her tenure. Investigators discovered 10 handwritten letters hidden in the bed of a 16-year-old inmate, revealing sexual content, romantic declarations, and manipulative plans. Security footage confirmed Gomez repeatedly isolating herself with the teen, violating strict protocols designed to prevent one-on-one interactions. Additional evidence, including a photograph of Gomez in the inmate's cell, strengthened the case against her. These violations highlighted how quickly power can be abused when professional boundaries are ignored and underscored the importance of surveillance in protecting vulnerable individuals. When questioned, Gomez admitted to writing the letters and confessed to harboring illegal desires for the inmate. She revealed she had deliberately sought opportunities to be alone with him and even fantasized about building a life together after his release. Her confession painted a disturbing picture of manipulation and abuse of authority. The sheriff's office acted swiftly. Gomez was terminated from her position and arrested on charges of solicitation of a child to engage in sexual battery by a person in a custodial role. In a bitter twist of irony, she was booked into the very jail she once worked for. This case serves as a grim reminder of the dangers of unchecked authority and the vital role of oversight in maintaining the safety and trust of juvenile detention facilities. Montgomery County Jail scandal, Charlene Diane O'Banion's calculated betrayal. In Texas, Montgomery County Jail became the site of a shocking breach of trust when 33-year-old officer Charlene Diane O'Banion orchestrated a secret intimate encounter with inmate Jacob Parker. Her plan was deliberate and calculated. Using a tip about alleged drug activity, O'Banion arranged for a housing unit to be cleared, leaving a near-empty area with blind spots that allowed her to act without immediate oversight. Staff began noticing unusual behavior, particularly Parker's unusually compliant demeanor, which raised suspicions. Surveillance cameras eventually captured the November 2021 encounter, leaving clear evidence of the misconduct. Phone recordings further confirmed explicit conversations between O'Banion and Parker, removing any ambiguity about the nature of the relationship. Faced with overwhelming evidence, O'Banion admitted to the improper sexual activity with a person in custody. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 100 days in jail, marking a swift end to her career and a serious warning to other correctional staff. Montgomery County Jail responded proactively to prevent future incidents. Management installed additional surveillance cameras to cover blind spots and implemented increased staff rotations, aiming to restore safety and accountability within the facility. This case serves as a stark reminder of how professional boundaries can be exploited when vigilance is compromised. It highlights the critical role of monitoring, surveillance, and strict protocols in maintaining the integrity of correctional facilities and protecting both staff and inmates from dangerous misconduct. Riverbend Scandal: Emily Davis and the Secret Inmate Network. In 2019, Riverbend Maximum Security in Tennessee became the center of a shocking scandal involving 22-year-old officer Emily Davis. Her youthful inexperience and poor judgment quickly transformed her from a law enforcer into someone breaking the very rules she was meant to uphold. Davis's relationship with an inmate remained hidden until a Department of Corrections investigation into contraband smuggling uncovered a secret network within the facility. Officers were discovered passing handwritten notes to inmates through cell doors and food trays, creating an illicit communication channel. One intercepted letter, written using her maiden and middle names, revealed an explicit sexual encounter and even suggested a possible pregnancy, raising alarms about the depth of her misconduct. When confronted, the inmate confirmed that he had engaged in 2 sexual encounters with Davis. This evidence prompted her immediate arrest on felony charges for sexual contact with an inmate, exposing a breach of trust that endangered the integrity of the correctional system. Public records provide little clarity on her ultimate sentence, leaving many questions about the final consequences of her actions. Nevertheless, the case highlights the risks posed by inexperience, poor decision-making, and the exploitation of professional authority within correctional facilities. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of oversight, surveillance, and strict adherence to protocols to protect both staff and inmates, and to prevent breaches that can undermine the safety and security of maximum security prisons. HMP Adwell scandal: Rachel Wilson's career-ending Mr. At HMP Adwell in Scotland, 23-year-old officer Rachel Wilson's brief career ended in disgrace after surveillance cameras captured her inappropriate relationship with inmate Kevin Hogg. Wilson, still in her probationary period, crossed professional boundaries with Hogg, who was serving a 3-year sentence for traffic offenses. The incident came to light when Hogg secretly recorded a 79-second video in his small, white-walled cell. The footage shows Wilson at the doorway, engaging in whispered conversation, before giving in to a passionate kiss. Hogg's comment afterward, "That's what I wanted," highlighted the complex power dynamics at play and raised questions about motivation, consent, and manipulation. Initially, rumors suggested that Wilson may have been coerced or blackmailed, but prison sources confirmed that she willingly participated in the encounter. The video quickly spread across Scotland's prison system, sparking outrage and intense scrutiny over staff conduct and oversight. HMP Adwell responded swiftly, firing Wilson immediately and launching a comprehensive review of security protocols and professional standards. The scandal underscored the critical importance of vigilance, strict adherence to rules, and clear professional boundaries in correctional facilities. This case serves as a stark reminder that even brief lapses in judgment can have severe consequences. Wilson's actions not only destroyed her career but also highlighted vulnerabilities in prison oversight, prompting reforms designed to prevent similar breaches in the future. The fallout continues to influence how Scottish prisons enforce accountability and maintain the integrity of their staff. After seeing the shocking mistakes of officers who forgot the cameras, it's clear that some breaches of trust go far deeper. While these moments reveal carelessness, history also records officers whose actions were far more dangerous and damaging. Next, we explore the worst police officers in history and their notorious legacies. John Burge, Chicago cop behind the Midnight Crew torture scandal. Ex-Chicago officer John Burge led the infamous Midnight Crew, torturing suspects and forcing false confessions for years. His eventual conviction exposed deep systemic abuse and the need for accountability. John Burge's story is one of power, abuse, and eventual accountability within the Chicago Police Department. After serving honorably in the U.S. Army, Burge transitioned to law enforcement, where he rose through the ranks to lead a unit later known as the Midnight Crew. This group became notorious for its brutal tactics, coercing confessions from suspects through physical and psychological torture. For years, victims endured beatings, electric shocks, and other forms of abuse, often under the guise of lawful interrogations. Many were pressured into confessing to crimes they didn't commit, leading to wrongful convictions that left lasting scars on individuals and communities.
My name is Mark Clemens, and I respectfully ask you right now.
Burge's actions exemplify how unchecked authority and systemic oversight failures can create an environment where abuse becomes normalized. Despite mounting evidence, it took decades for accountability to catch up. In 2010, Burge was finally convicted of obstruction of justice and perjury for covering up his team's illegal activities. He served 4.5 years in prison, a sentence widely regarded as overdue justice for the countless victims affected by his actions. The Burge case remains a chilling reminder of the importance of oversight, transparency, and ethical conduct in law enforcement. It also highlights the systemic challenges within policing that allow abuse to persist until whistleblowers, investigators, and the legal system intervene. Ultimately, his story underscores the critical need for accountability to prevent history from repeating itself and to restore trust in law enforcement institutions. Daniel Holtzclaw, Oklahoma cop, abuses power. Daniel Holtzclaw, an Oklahoma City police officer, abused his position of authority to commit a series of horrific crimes against women. Over several years, he targeted vulnerable individuals, exploiting his power to intimidate, assault, and coerce them into sexual acts. Holtzclaw ran background checks on his victims, carefully selecting those he believed could be manipulated into silence, a chilling display of premeditation and abuse. By 2015, law enforcement had built a case against him, charging Holtzclaw with 36 counts of sexual assault, blackmail, and related crimes, involving 13 different women.
I do.
Where do you work out?
At 4-star gym, off of May, about 63rd.
Yeah.
His methods were calculated and predatory, taking advantage of his badge to instill fear and control over those who had little recourse. The investigation revealed the extent of his manipulations and the devastating psychological toll on the victims. In court, the evidence was overwhelming. Holtzclaw was convicted of 18 of the charges and sentenced to 263 years in prison, effectively ensuring he would never wield authority again. His case became a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked police power and the necessity of robust oversight to protect vulnerable communities. The Holtzclaw case underscores a critical lesson. When authority goes unchecked, it can be weaponized against those least able to defend themselves. It also highlights the importance of listening to victims, thorough investigations, and systemic reforms to prevent future abuses within law enforcement agencies. Stacy Kuhn, officer in the Rodney King beating. Sergeant Stacy Kuhn was one of the LAPD officers involved in Rodney King's brutal 1991 beating. Caught on camera, the assault led to outrage, riots, and federal convictions. March 3, 1991, became a defining moment in Los Angeles and U.S. policing history. Rodney King, pulled over for speeding, was brutally beaten by 5 LAPD officers, including Sergeant Stacy Kuhn. The attack was caught on camera, providing irrefutable evidence of excessive force and sparking nationwide outrage. Despite the shocking footage, the officers were initially acquitted in state court, igniting the 1992 Los Angeles riots, which resulted in widespread destruction, hundreds of injuries, and dozens of deaths. The case highlighted deep racial tensions, systemic issues within the LAPD, and a justice system perceived as failing to hold law enforcement accountable. Kuhn and his fellow officers faced federal charges after public outcry intensified. He was convicted of permitting an unlawful assault and sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison. This conviction marked a rare instance of federal accountability for police misconduct and underscored the importance of oversight when local systems fail. The Rodney King case and Kuhn's role in it became a watershed moment in American history. It not only exposed the dangers of unchecked police authority, but also triggered reforms aimed at increasing accountability and transparency within law enforcement. Beyond the courtroom, the events reshaped public perception of police, race relations, and the need for systemic change, serving as a reminder that actions behind the badge can have far-reaching consequences. These moments serve as a powerful reminder that accountability in law enforcement is vital. When officers forget the cameras are watching, their actions are exposed, emphasizing the need for constant vigilance and integrity. While most serve honorably, these instances underline the importance of transparency and oversight. Technology ensures that no one is truly unobserved, reinforcing the message that every decision, every action, and every choice carries consequences, whether noticed immediately or captured for later review.